Canada hits U.S. goods with new tariffs as trade war escalates. Canada has announced a new round of tariffs on American goods, dramatically escalating its trade dispute with the United States and raising concerns about the economic consequences for business and consumers on both sides of the border. The Canadian government says the new countermeasures will target roughly 27.6 billion Canadian dollars, about 20 billion US dollars, worth of American imports. The tariffs are scheduled to take effect on September 8, 2026, and will range from 15% to as high as 50%, depending on the product. Hundreds of categories of American goods are affected. They include products connected to steel and aluminum, agriculture, dairy products, household appliances, electronics, machinery, paper products, and seafood. Some U.S. steel and aluminum products will face tariffs of up to 50%. Canada says the measures are retaliation for tariffs imposed by the Trump administration on Canadian exports. The announcement follows the breakdown of negotiations between Washington and Ottawa that had raised hopes of reaching an agreement and preventing another escalation. Instead, tensions have increased. President Donald Trump has also threatened tariffs of 50% on Canadian cars, trucks, and auto parts, beginning in January 2027, if the dispute is not resolved. But while Canada's new tariffs are imposed on goods entering Canada, American companies could also feel significant consequences. When American products become more expensive in Canada, Canadian businesses and consumers may buy fewer of them. They could instead choose Canadian products or imports from other countries. That could mean lower sales for American manufacturers, farmers, and exporters. States with strong economic connections to Canada could be particularly vulnerable. Michigan, Ohio, Maine, and Alaska are among the states where businesses and workers could feel the effects of a prolonged trade confrontation. The automobile industry presents an even bigger challenge. The U.S. and Canadian economies are deeply interconnected, and automobile components can cross the border multiple times before a finished vehicle reaches a dealership. If both governments continue imposing tariffs, companies could face higher costs at several stages of production. Those costs could eventually translate into higher prices, reduced investment, or pressure on jobs. And that is why the dispute could ultimately affect ordinary Americans. Tariffs are often presented as a way to protect domestic industries, but when major trading partners retaliate, American exporters can lose access to customers while companies that depend on cross-border supply chains face higher expenses. The timing also makes the dispute politically sensitive. The United States is approaching the